Hey, you know what time it is. What is up, peeps? Good morning to you. What are you eating? What are you sipping on? I got my peanut butter toast because we woke up this morning, 7 a.m., and there was already news to break. So let's get to it. We'll eat this later. Yes, but speaking of eating out, there's someone who wants something new in CS, and I could not agree more. That being Kassad, taking to Twitter to say, hey, why can't we just have some more trash talk, some more legitimate rivalries, people actually getting upset at each other in pro CS instead of pretending to be friends all the time? And I agree, although I don't want this to be some orchestrated, plan of pros pretending to be beefing with each other. But I would love that in CS. Can you guys imagine for a second? Who would you want to see going head to head, just yelling at each other? And for some reason, I want Cadian involved. Stating I want rivalries in 2025. I want some trash talk live on games, throwing stuff over the table, and arguments between talent and players. Not this boring, mellow, we are all fake friends thing we got going. I want fire. And then someone had a very interesting response about Donk and Munacy, who we've covered a lot recently because it is funny. They're clearly buddies. They're clearly friends. They've been hanging out after the major. They've been partaking in 2v2 tournaments together on the same team. And can you imagine if they didn't like each other? I mean, it'd be a bit they seem like kids still to me, so maybe we can wait a few years on that one. But it is crazy. You got the number 1 and 2 players in the world, and they're buddies. I don't know if you see that too often. I don't personally mind it. I think there's a lot of trickle down, plenty of other players we can choose from, and I still want Cadian involved. I don't know why. He is a good yeller. We know that. And I feel like he could get pretty emotional if he has the right rivalry with a player out there. But it is true, we don't see that very often. You look at a game like Call of Duty and you compare it to CS. Call of Duty has that trash talk after almost every match in the CDL, at least the matches that matter. They are looking over at each other, they're pointing, they're doing this, they're saying things. When it comes to CS, and I've said this before, it's a bit more of an elegant pro esport out there. There's enough notoriety there where the players have enough respect for each other at the tier 1 level where you just don't see trash talk too often. You rarely see some of those in CS, but when you do, you really can attach to it. So I hope there is more trash talk this season. We'll see if any players out there want to kick that off. Maybe JL, he seems so nice. I don't know if he could, but if he wanted to, he definitely could. What do you guys think about more trash talk in CS? And speaking out there about someone who didn't really trash talk, all he did was strut on FaZe during the Shanghai Major, we have Donk in a recent interview with Banks. I wanted to nitpick this question out there because I just thought it was insane, where we're talking about the offseason of Munacy and Donk, and Banks asked Donk, hey, how many days off of CS did you take after winning the Major and during this offseason? And his answer was 4. But that included travel. So technically it was 3 days he took off of CS, and that is it. You are the best player in the world in Counter-Strike, youngest ever major winner and MVP. You're just coming off a major victory, and he took 3 days off for their entire offseason. The rest of this year, he'll play CS every single day. That's the guy you want.
What did it say?
Did you start practice already, or does it start tomorrow?
I've never stopped practicing.
Hell yeah. Wait, Donk, you told me at the major after you won, you said you take small bit of time off and then play. So
yeah,
how many days?
I think 4. I had on PC for 4 days, I guess.
Including travel?
Yes.
Damn, dude, damn. So it's technically only 3 days and then
Yes.
full grind.
Yes.
That's a winning mentality.
Yeah. Mentality of champions and elite players.
It's just no wonder these kids are the best in the world because, not only do they have nothing else to do, they're also making utter amounts of money, and they're just the best at it. I can only imagine being a teenager when you're that good and you do have the freedoms that maybe some 32-year-old does not have, and you're just I love the game. I'm going to keep on playing it. I also looked to Malbs in his HLTV interview where he's hey, I want to be the best in the world and push Munacy to be number 1. I'm going to keep on playing this game as much as possible. Those are the people I worry about the most. You got in a good way, right? So those are the ones you got to keep an eye on. And speaking of keeping an eye on, we told you guys yesterday we'd be talking about this, the downfall of the female CS scene. It almost seems imminent at this point if Valve does not step in and change something. Last December, we saw many teams, including Team Spirit, TSM, Astralis, ENCE, all part ways and disband their female rosters within a few days of each other. And most recently, it was Na'Vi, one of your more well-known CIS teams out there, and one of your better female teams as well, also disband their roster and call the scene unsustainable at this point and not allowing for long-term planning. That is 5 female CS teams within about 35 days, all disbanding. Not a good sign whatsoever. And it sucks because it feels like for the last few years, like I wouldn't say flourishing or thriving whatsoever, but there was an apparent female scene, which a lot of esports can't sustain, can't even try to enter into whatsoever. And I thought CS was doing a decent job of that, because when comparing to other esports out there, it is cool to have. Like, it is cool to say, hey, we got our top guys, we got our top gals. Each of them have their top 20 lists of the year as well. And it's a really cool thing to have an ecosystem be able to sustain both of those parts to it. And clearly one is lacking and is not able to do that any longer for some reason. And so I say this just to highlight it, hopefully get it out there. I would love to cover more female CS. We're going to see Imperial female just shortly here for the Blast Bounty tournament. We'll definitely be covering that. And it's cool when these female teams do get exposure to actually play against some of these teams. No matter how those results go, it is cool to see and cool for those, I'm sure, those players to get that kind of exposure. And I do think CS is a bit better when you got both sides competing. And it can lead to some great storylines out there. So the future of female CS, where is it going? It is certainly right now going a bit downhill. So hopefully Valve or maybe some other teams out there can figure out some sort of way to keep this around, and we'll keep you guys posted. And one last story for you guys out there. We got some CS player drama, because why not when it comes to transfers and shady organizations out there and locking players into prison contracts? This is esports, baby. We're talking about IKLA and, of course, Kvem. I know that's probably not how it's exactly pronounced, but that's how a boy from Iowa is going to say Kvem. But apparently he is maybe stuck in a contract situation and maybe not going anywhere as teams continue to have interest in him. Well, his former owner and organization say he is still under contract, which he denies. As the organization owner said, we regret to inform Kvem has signed a contract with Passion without obtaining the necessary transfer agreement from our organization. Our legal team is actively pursuing this matter, and we will take all appropriate lawful actions. Furthermore, we are submitting formal requests to all active TOs to restrict the player from partaking in competitions until the dispute is resolved. As Kvem had recently signed with Passion UA, which is a pretty big signing, I would say. Some people excited about that. The future of Passion. Are they going to be ripped apart after a decent Shanghai major run? But this also just kind of coming off as spiteful. When you look at IKLA, I don't even believe they're a CS team that's currently operating. So I don't understand exactly the point of this. Now, obviously, if you are a player and you sign into a contract, you're supposed to read that contract. A lot of them can be shady, but a lot of the community out there is saying, yo, let the player play. What are you doing out there? And it's also saying he's going to contact TOs and say, hey, this transfer was not agreed upon. So we await to see what the exact future of this will be. It's interesting because Kvem just went ahead and announced this. So too did Passion UA. So we'll see if there's any updates out there. But the org apparently wants him back because they want a one-man team to represent IKLA GG and their future in Counter-Strike, which sounds like it's about to be glorious. But until next time, hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching, for subbing. You guys can sub. Yeah, that's really nice. Thank you for doing that. And I'll catch you guys back here tomorrow morning, bright and early. All right, go get your coffee, go get your water. We'll see you then. Take care.